So my goal is to really ask this question. This is what we've been dealing with for now 10 years all over the world. Garbage is a global problem. It exists absolutely everywhere. And it's a very, very big issue. So let's sort of dissect and really think about what really is garbage. First, garbage, and maybe most importantly, is not a natural idea. It doesn't exist in nature in any capacity. And this is really important because we belong to the natural system, but for some reason we humans and only humans have created this unique concept. So why does garbage exist? I would suggest that it exists because of only two things. And both of these things are exceptionally modern. The first thing is consumption, which is that we buy way more than we need, and what we buy, we don't keep. If my t-shirt rips, I'm just going to throw it out. Or hell, if it goes out of fashion, I'm going to throw it out. We buy way, way more than we need. And if you look at all major companies around the world, companies are measured on consumption, not even just how much they sell, but how much more they're able to sell year over year. The second thing, which makes the consumption a really big issue, is complex materials. Almost everything today, look around this room as was mentioned at the very beginning, look at the chair. It's not made from anything natural. Half our clothing is made from plastic compounds. Nothing, almost very few things that we are touching today or touch in our lives are made from things nature knows what to do with. So you add those two things together and you get the exceptionally modern concept of waste. Now, just to give it context, 5 billion tons a year around the world, of which 25% ends up in the ocean. You know, we always talk about the Pacific Gyre. In fact, there's 6. Every major gyre in the ocean is a big garbage patch. And it's 5 billion tons total, of which about 1.25 billion tons ends up in our oceans. And by the way, I've seen these gyres firsthand in a boat. You will never be able to get this stuff out of there. The plastic disintegrates to a mush about 10 meters deep, as wide as the state of Texas, so impossible to dredge that this is there basically forever until some amazing technology comes up and a massive, ridiculous amount of money to finance an issue that is not country by country specific. That's all the negatives. Now I'm going to try to talk positively about garbage. There are basically two systems for waste. First, it's important to note that every object in the world one day will become waste, and there's no exception to this. Everything one day will be waste. This bottle I'm drinking from in maybe 10 minutes when I'm finished is now garbage. The chair you're sitting on, maybe in 5 years when this auditorium gets renovated, will be waste. We become waste one day. Everything becomes waste. Some things can be recycled though. This bottle, rigid PET, can be recycled. So can 5 things in total. Aluminum, pure aluminum, like an aluminum can. Rigid PET, like this bottle. Rigid HDPE, which is another form of plastic, like a shampoo bottle. Simple uncoated paper, so not your pizza box, but just like your paper you may be writing on. And glass. Now, why are these things recyclable is really important. And it comes down not to the technical ability to recycle, because we've evaluated every single consumer-facing waste stream, and everything from chewing gum to cigarettes to dirty diapers is recyclable. The reason is only economics. The value of aluminum is greater than the cost of collecting aluminum cans and the cost of melting them into aluminum ore. And there's tons of it out there. That's the only reason those 5 things are recyclable. Everything else, without any exception, ends up in the trash, and there's only 2 systems that can handle mixed waste. Either send it to a landfill, which is the most common global solution, or waste to energy. Waste to energy may sound great, but it's also a really, really big issue, simply because 90% of all incinerators in the world don't actually produce any energy, and the ones that do still produce relatively little compared to the incredibly valuable material that they're burning. Think about how much energy it took to take oil and make it into this plastic bottle. Why then burn it and make it into just a little bit of energy? So that's the system today. I'm going to get back to this in a sec. But I want to talk about now the virtues and how do you solve garbage. Take this bottle. Now, when you look at a piece of garbage, it's important that if I said this is a used bottle, not to think of it as a new bottle. Because there's a huge difference between a used coffee cup and a new coffee cup, or a used anything and a dirty diaper and a used diaper, or and a new diaper. When you think about a waste object, I would argue you should think about it in 3 ways. First, what is it made from? This is made from PET. The second is, what does it look like? Because it's not just a pile of PET pellets in my hand, it looks like a bottle. So there's form. What was it made into? And that's important because there was a lot of energy that turned PET pellets into this bottle. And then there's a third really important thing to think about, which is what is the intention of the form and the composition, which is the fact that this is a bottle intended to hold a liquid. It wasn't intended to be a vase where I could put a flower into it and do that. I could fill it with birdseed, flip it upside down and make it into a bird feeder. There's 100 things I could do, but none of that was the intention of the company that made this bottle. The intention was put in a consumer beverage. So if you think about waste in those 3 ways, there's truly 5 things you can do with garbage. The first two, the bottom two, are the bad things, and those are linear. That's why they're bad, because you can only do them once. Sending stuff to a landfill basically creates no value in the waste. In fact, it probably creates some sort of negative value, because you have to transport it, and then you have leachate, methane, all sorts of issues that come off a landfill and land use. Then you have waste to energy, which is better because there is no leachate, methane, land use, and all the other externalities of a landfill, but it's phenomenal amount of carbon, and it's linear, which doesn't allow you to use that material, that highly refined material, over and over. But there are three circular things that can be done. The first that we always look at, and of course it's the most limited, is reuse. Reuse values all three aspects of waste if you look at waste within those three contexts: the material features and the intention. We found three basic categories where reuse can happen in a very big way. First, high-end electronics. We collect close to 250,000 pieces of high-end electronics, cell phones, laptops, things like that all over the world. Easily can be refurbished, sold in the secondary markets. You know, iPhone 5 came out. How many of you are throwing out iPhone 4? Send them to us. We'll refurbish it and sell it to somebody at a cheap price who can't afford either of those things. Then the next one is clothing. We've seen these models with Goodwill and all, quite a bit. We do a lot with shoes. Clothing easily can be just reused. Where maybe people haven't thought about reuse is a third category called simple rigids. Simple rigids are like a margarine tub, a bottle, where you can reuse it in its original context. The first product we ever invented was the one at the top right: liquid worm poop in a used soda bottle. Now this may seem granola and hippie and has no volume, but it's available nationally: Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Lowe's, and also in Canada at those same retailers. What's interesting is the world's first product made entirely from waste except the label, because every bottle, one was a Coke bottle, one was a Pepsi bottle, or still is, and we had to find a label that could contour to that shape. Also interesting, I don't have time to talk about it today, but there's the intellectual property rights of garbage. Coca-Cola and Pepsi still own their shape, even if you fill it with something else, even if it's garbage. So TerraCycle has the world's only license from Coke and Pepsi to package shit in their distinctive shapes and sell it. That then later extended to the products you see here, like that bird feeder in the middle, 2-liter soda bottle upside down, best-selling bird feeder in America 4 years ago. But it can also happen in other things. We realize, for example, we do a lot of dairy tub collection, polypropylene dairy tubs, which are not recyclable, at least in most systems. Only 3.5% of American systems accept dairy tubs. And it turns out the shape and the features are exactly the same as a planting pot. So last year, 35 million plants. We just put a hole in the bottom of used yogurt tubs and margarine tubs we collected. This was with Unilever, and packaged 35 million plants in them, again, for sale at Walmart. That's reuse. It's about 1% of the waste we collect can go into that. The next is upcycling. Upcycling is sexy, cool, but limited. It's about 3% of the waste we collect goes into upcycling, where you value only the material and the features. You definitely don't value the intention, because a juice pouch was never intended to be a backpack. Pet products or pet bags were never intended to be pet products. But what's amazing about upcycling is that it's really limited only by your imagination. The other challenge in upcycling is just the limit on volume. Not everyone wants to walk around with vinyl record clocks or bags made from postal office bags or shower curtains from granola wrappers. But still, millions of pieces of waste can be moved through these systems and create really interesting solutions, because you're valuing everything but the intention. And everything I'm showing you here, whether it's a shoe we make with Timberland, all the way to high-end dresses that are in various museums, like that one's in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, or that was a really fun dress I had a chance to get involved with, is that there is no limit. Today, even every one of our offices in 22 countries, every single aspect of everything except the computers. This is our office in Mainz, Germany, everything made from waste. Our office in Sao Paulo, everything made from waste except the computers. Even our headquarters in New Jersey, everything made from waste. There's really no limit, except your imagination. The next question, though, is how about where does all the volume go? And that goes into what we call recycling, but what's unique here is we're recycling the non-recyclables. Recycling is defined by only valuing the material. You don't value the shape or the intention. Everything on this picture is stuff that was never recyclable before and today is being recycled in major volumes, millions of pounds per week. Here, for example, may look like normal pet products, entirely made from pet food bags. This may look like a normal Mr. Potato Head with Hasbro, but it's entirely potato chip bags. And what we've realized, that without any exception, you can either recycle, which is the examples to the corners here, or upcycle, which is the examples to the other corners, whether it's flexible packaging or whatever you look at. So, even now we started working with major brands on integrating the waste back into their product. That pen, for example, is the world's first pen made entirely from used pens. and available in Canada and the US. Next year, you'll see with the biggest oral care company in the world's first toothbrush from used toothbrushes. With one of the biggest cosmetic companies in the world world's first lipstick package made from used cosmetic packages, things that have never been done before. The question is, how do you do this? And it comes down not to the solution. Hopefully, I've showed you that the solutions are there. It comes down to collection. Because the big problem with waste, and the reason it ends up in a landfill or waste to energy, is that it's mixed together. It's very difficult to deal with the wide assortment of polymers we have, wide assortment of waste streams, all mixed together. So you need to create distinct, separated collection. And then from there, everything flows quite easily. So how do we do this? We run our collection program in 22 countries. You can do this here in the US or wherever else you may be from. Please visit TerraCycle.com, and there you'll see today 62 waste streams you can collect for free. Every month we add a new one, give or take. These are all funded by major brands who can then make their waste nationally recyclable through our system. And you just simply sign up, take a box, fill it up with that type of waste, download a free shipping label from our website anywhere in the country and send it to us. We even typically give you a small donation, typically a few cents per piece of waste to any NGO or school you wish, and we are able to give away millions of dollars per quarter doing this. Now, people say that this may be dinky and small. One example, drink pouches in the US, we launched in September 2007, and in the first year we collected 22,000 pouches, nothing to write home about. Today, though, it's 500,000 per day, which is 3% of all of America's juice pouches flow into our business. Now, then people say, well, it's not going to work in other countries like Argentina where there simply is no recycling. The lack of recycling is not a reflection of the people's desire to recycle. Once we launched in Argentina, within a year and a half, we are in this one category of waste alone, which is juice pouches. We're collecting between 200,000 and 300,000 units per month, with 1.5 million Argentines actively collecting in a country that never had recycling before. Or you go to advanced recycling cultures, probably the most advanced is Western Europe and the Nordics, works just as well there. Today we have 1.6 million people with major brands collecting various non-recyclable waste. And this is the sample of companies that are now taking charge of their waste around the world through this platform. The last thing that I just want to leave you with is that one of the big challenges with environmental stuff, whether it's energy, waste, is how to promote it. We find that by being able to work with brands to create true promotion around these programs, we can get them to continuously invest aggressively around financing these solutions. So whether it's through these mediums, which is what we do, all the way to things that the brands do. One of my most favorite things brands do is on today 40 billion packages per year. Brands like Colgate at the very top there can now claim that they have a completely nationally recyclable product. And hopefully consumers read that and then begin to collect. So I hope that I've made you think about garbage just a little differently. And I hope that I've showed you how at least we're trying to eliminate the idea of waste, which is collect it, solve it, and promote it. And whether you collect with us or not, thank you.